Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to today's webinar from Cloud for Partners and Ascari. I'd like to welcome everybody who signed in to the session for today. As you may already know, this is a monthly regular slot that is open to partners of Ascari and Cloud for Partners. So we can give a better insight into some of the technologies that are available that enhance and extend the capability of SAP Business One. I'm delighted today to welcome my colleague, Steve Clements, who is Senior Account Manager at Codeless Platforms. Steve will take the reins shortly. And before he does so, I just wanted to just go through a few housekeeping rules. So first and foremost, the session is due to last for approximately 30 minutes, which will include 20 minutes or so of Steve giving you a presentation and demonstration of the Codeless Platforms proposition. After Steve has finished that, there will be an opportunity to go through a brief 5 to 10 minute Q&A session. And at the moment, all delegates are on mute. But during the 20 minutes or so that Steve's presenting, please feel free to input via the questions box or chat box on your interface for GoToWebinar any questions or any thoughts that come to mind during the course of today's session. So moving on, let's just give you an overview of what today involves. So Steve will give you some further insight into Codeless Platforms, give you some valuable insight into how their portals interact with Business One and also add value to customers of SAP Business One. We'll also go through some of the functionality details of the customer portal, as well as naturally some of the benefits. We'll have some insight into the integration piece with Business One, as well as a customer portal demonstration. Please note this is very high level and over a very short period of time. If there's more specific details you want to go into with Steve, we'd be delighted to organise something after the event. And finally, we'll wrap up with a Q&A. So, without further ado, before we go into the Q&A, I'll hand over the reins to Steve, and Steve will give you an insight into Codeless Platforms.
All right, perfect. All right, so thank you very much, Darren. I mean, I'm happy to be here, sort of in this webinar to show you a little bit of what Codeless Platforms is all about. As Darren says, I'll give a quick overview of who we are. So let's just move on. So Codeless Platforms. Some of you might know us, some of you are maybe using us, some of you may know us as Orbis Software, changed about a year and a half ago now to Codeless Platforms. And we've sort of been going for many, many years, 23 years now, looking at automation and recent years integration. And everything was always BPA platform or Task Center, as you may have known it as. What we've introduced in the last year or year and a half ago was a new product called Application Platform. And part of what Application Platform is, what I'm going to display today, is all about portals. It's another rapid development environment. It allows you to build applications, whether they're sort of extensions to your existing ERPs, full-blown applications, or in this case, portals. So let's dive straight into the portals. This is what we're here for. So what's a portal all about? So a portal, obviously, it's a website in all essence, and it sort of brings information out to your customers. It allows them to have access to various data. So the benefits, say, extends your system outside your organization. People will actually be able to see their data. Allows them to actually sort of bring information back into you. So this would be typically sort of sales orders or payments in a particular case. It's a self-service. It hopefully reduces the number of phone calls because people can now see their data ahead of time, and it's available 24/7. The portals we have on our application platform, I'm only going to show the customer one here, but we have, as you can see here, listed sort of supplier, sales agent, field service, employer. These are some of the portals we've sort of pre-built. We're going to sort of concentrate on the customer portal today. So a bit of architecture, nothing too technical, but what's it all about? Obviously, we have BPA Platform, Task Center. This is our integration suite. So this is what we use to integrate between SAP and our portals. The portal itself is hosted. It's in a secure hosting area. So I say I'm making available 24/7 and not actually affecting your security into your network at all. You're using BPA Platform to talk to and from the portal. So there's no sort of major portals needed to be open or security issues. Functionality of it, like I say, orders, invoices, credit notes, anything to do with the customer accounts, we've sort of brought into this phase 1 part of the portal. I say phase 1, we've sort of, and we are about to release this. We still have a few sort of little tweaks, pieces we're doing. But we've sort of initially, these are the things that we see that people want as a customer portal, but we will be looking at extending this as we go along. So let me just do a quick demo. So hold on for a second. Let me just change into here. So like I say, let's have a look at the portal. Let's go through it. Like I say, I've sort of jumped into it. There's a login screen, obviously, that we would log into. The important thing here is that everything is driven from SAP. So the synchronization between SAP and the portal is initiated, apart from payments and orders, everything's initiated from the SAP side. So you'd have business partners, some would require access to the portal, some wouldn't require access to the portal. We would have a property that would be set up, or a UDF that's set up to say, yeah, these are the business partners that we want to give access to the portal. So just by entering or ticking a box in SAP, you enable a business partner to access the portal. And the actual user of the portals is all about contacts. So again, within SAP, going into SAP, you would enable each contact that you want to have access to the portal. So what we're seeing here is the dashboard, the home page. So this is sort of a quick overview of what's going on with the account that you're logged into. I'm logged into Codeless Platforms, so these are all of our last 5 orders. We've actually only got 3 on here. Our next deliveries, our outstanding payments, and obviously a sort of a quick overview of the financial, what's due, overdue, or outstanding. And we got a couple of little sort of shortcuts down the top left-hand side here. These actually would obviously update as and when things happen. They give you a quick overview of what's going on. Down the left-hand side, we've got our various shortcuts. So we've got our orders, our deliveries, our invoices, our payments. These are all the documents, obviously in SAP, which we will push through up to the portal. We then have further down here, have a little statement. So again, self-service, people can actually have their statement online. So we can click on that, show what the current statement is. And then we have 2 other areas here, make a payment, place an order, and then finally a little admin area. I'm an administrator on my portal, so I have access to do this. If I just sort of quickly jump into the admin area, I'll say the majority of what's sort of been driven is everything from SAP, but what we can see here is that we have the ability for certain users to actually have access to certain areas of it. So you can see here that there are Andrew Jacobs has only access to 3 areas, whereas Chris has access to all 5. So we go in here, change what their access they have, so they can only place orders or they can only view orders. There's a little bit more to add into the admin, but that's what it is at the moment. So let's go back to our dashboard. So like I say, on the dashboard, we've got our overview. We can jump straight into place an order if we wish, or make a payment. They're 2 most important things for most customers. Or down the left-hand side, we can actually look at documentation, or our documents. So if I jump into the orders, each one of these views is pretty similar. It's all sort of a similar layout. We have a list of our documents. We have search facilities on it. So we can actually cut down and see exactly what, or filter down to exactly what we're after. Or we've got our free text search there. You can also see at the top right-hand side, we have 3 little icons. We can download that as a CSV. We can actually create a PDF of it, or we can print it to a local printer. In the main area, list of sales orders in this case, you can see here we've got a little plus sign. So if we open up the plus sign, what that'll provide us with a list of any other documents associated with that sales order. Again, if I go into deliveries, it'll be the same in deliveries. The layout is very similar. Again, we have a little plus sign down here that if we open up, it will show you anything to do with that particular delivery. So let's jump down into placing an order. So let's place an order, nice and simple. So with our orders, like I say, you've enabled your business partner or your account to have access to it. You've enabled your users so they can actually place an order. Now with this screen, again, there'll be a little bit more tweaking around it. We're almost there. But what we're doing here is we're actually sort of nice and easy, place an order of the products for that particular account. So this is the important thing. What we do is we synchronize between SAP and the portal the product list for that particular account and their price list. So they only see their products, they only see their prices. The shipment date, put a little bit of reference in. Choose the billing address and the delivery address. Now, as you can see here, these are just drop downs. There's no free text entry point at the moment. Again, this is controlled by SAP. So if there's an address or a billing or a delivery address on SAP, it will get automatically pushed up into the portal and made available to this particular account. Shipment methods the same. Again, what shipment methods you make available to your customers, they will be listed here. Again, driven by SAP. The little special instructions, and then we can add the sales order line. So we have a couple of options here. We can start typing. So start typing something. It will actually come up with anything with that free text in, or we can actually click on the search box, and then that will list out all of the products for that particular account. So we can see here we've got an office print there. We can put a quantity in. You see the price list. Price comes up automatically. I can go through and I can add a second one. So let's add a Galaxy. We'll put 2 of those. So nice and easy, straightforward. We can save an order. Now, at the point of saving an order, what that does, that saves it as draft. So until we actually sort of submit the order, it is in draft format. Again, if we look at this document, again, we can have a PDF of it. We can actually have the CSV, so we can export the lines for it, or we have a little submit order there. If I go pop back into my order screen, what we'll find is order 61 is in draft status. We've got a little edit mode here if we want to sort of go and edit it. But if we go back into it, then what we can do is we can submit an order. Now I'm going to submit an order. Another screen comes up. We're going to replace this screen. There's not much point to it, to be quite honest, but I'm just going to submit that order. At that point there, what's happening is that's now locked the order into the portal. There's no more edit. You've committed that order. It's now getting transferred to SAP. So if I just bring over another screen, so we can see the order in SAP. So let's bring this over here. So here's my SAP. Bless it. Right, let's go to SAP. Let's go to view the menu. Where are we? Blimey, window. There we go, window. main menu. So if I pop into my sales order, I'll go to my last sales order. Here's my order that's just come in. Processing as normal. So what you would do, however your process is. Now, if you don't use deliveries in your process, then they can be disabled in the portal. So you won't see the delivery menu choice. You won't see the delivery documents. It's the same with the payments. If you don't use payments, we can. It's actually modifiable, so you can actually disable that as well. So I'm just going to copy this to a delivery. So the moment I commit the delivery, that's now being pushed back up to the portal. I'm going to just go back straight onto the delivery, and I'm going to go straight into the AR invoice. So I'm just going to push that to an invoice as well. So if we now add that to the invoice. So again, BPA in the background is pushing those documents up. If I go back to my portal, by now we should have the documents up there. So if I just refresh that screen, what we should find is that the under order 61, we'll have the invoice and the delivery. So these are two documents that we push through. If I go into my invoice screen, then we'll have our invoice 1314 listed just there. And the same obviously with the deliveries. Now if I say, okay, I've now at the point again, so if you enabled the payments, at the point here, we can go to sort of make a payment screen. So the make a payment screen will list, again, for the particular account, all the outstanding invoices, all of the payments that haven't been assigned to anything. So they've made a payment, but it hasn't been applied to an invoice, and also any credit memos. So it'll be the case of selecting which invoices that you want to pay, which credit memos you want to apply, the payments you want to apply. There's also a little box down here that gives you a total of any credit on account. So they are aware if they've got money on account. Now, make a payment, won't go into this purely because there's no point, because we can't process it through a payment gateway, but that will bring up a screen that will give you the options of your payment types. So whether it's on account, whether it's WorldPay or PayPal, so whatever payment gateway that you use. We have WorldPay set up, we have obviously on account set up, and I think we're in the process of doing PayPal. But again, if there's anything that payment gateways that you want to use, you need to feed that back, and we'll look at sort of adding this into the portal. So to make a payment, it would then process the payment. It will obviously make sure if it's a payment gateway, it's approved. Once it's approved, it locks these invoices and the credit memos. It then gets pushed back into SAP. SAP does the processing, and then it gets pushed back up to the portal if everything's okay. So once everything's okay, then the invoice will be marked as paid, credit memo marked as used, and then our dashboard will reflect the latest orders, the latest deliveries. What else is there to say? Here's our statement. Again, it has a little bit of work to do, but we've got our statement. Again, this lists all the outstanding invoices, credit payments. So it's basically the statement for the whole, for the partner. Another thing we do have on the customer portal is we do have the ability that if you have a customer that has multiple accounts or business partners, they can actually be set up to manage both of them. So it's not shown on here, but beneath the dashboard, if I'm set up to manage a couple of business partners, I have a drop down, so I can choose between the account that I'm dealing with. Again, that's modifiable. You can configure that, whether that you need that or not, but it's all again through the SAP side. I think that's about it on what I want to show on the portal. I don't think there's anything else. So let's just go back to here, and I think I'm just looking at the time. It's nice, went through the portal quite quickly. I think we're just on to questions now. So I'm going to hand it back to Darren.
Thank you, Steve. Remember, everybody, you're welcome to type in questions using either the questions box or the chat box on your GoToWebinar interface. Steve, we do actually have one question from Tal in the UK. Tal's asked, how configurable is the portal in terms of look or feel?
Okay, so the layout you saw there was the standard layout. In the first phase, the layout will always remain the same. There will be an option of obviously putting on your logos up here, and we're also looking at sort of colouring, so the background colours and the various sort of styling of it. But generally, the layout as it stands in phase 1 will remain as you've seen it.
Thank you, Steve. I haven't got any other specific. Oh no, I'm mistaken. So Kyriakos from Cyprus has asked, what type of SAP Business One licenses will the customer need?
You will only need. Oh, I've come up with what they're called now. The new indirect license. Apologies, my mind's gone completely blank. The SAP have just brought out a couple of new indirect licenses. So they have the user base and they have the system base. I can't remember the exact terminology. You would only need a single system-based indirect license for that. Apologies, I can't remember the exact term.
To recap, it's not necessarily a full professional license or indeed a limited SAP user license. No. Okay,
absolutely.
Okay. We're still taking questions. Arne Timmerman has contacted me to say, will there be a recording of the session? Yes, we'll make that available to all delegates once we've concluded today's session. I'm not receiving any other questions either through the question inbox or the chat box. So I'd just like to thank you, Steve. That was a very concise and very interesting look into how Codeless Platforms can help partners to help their customers to maximise the impact of the Business One technology that they're deploying. I think certainly the subject of portals and how they integrate into B1 and meet customer needs are quite a common occurrence, regardless of whether you're looking at the UK and Irish market or indeed globally. So if there are any questions that maybe come to mind after today's session, please do remember that Steve can be contacted directly with any questions on Codeless Platforms and the portal product that we've seen today, or indeed any wider questions about how Codeless can help you as a partner to service your clients better. From the Cloud for Partners perspective, just a reminder that we do run these sessions monthly. It's at the same stage of each month. It's the final Wednesday of each month at midday GMT. Please note that there won't be a session next month on account of Christmas, but please do refer to social media postings via LinkedIn and Twitter for the schedule for 2019, and we'd certainly welcome you to join us again in the new year. So once again, thank you, Steve, for your input today. It's been most valuable. And to all of our delegates today, thank you for joining us. We look forward to catching up with you when we return in the new year. Thank you now.